everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for this soap baking video. After months and months, if not a whole year of procrastinating about it, I finally joined up with the Soap Challenge Club, and today I'm going to take you along as I do not only my first but also my second attempt at doing this soap. So let's go and see how they turned out. Okay, so we are all set and ready to go. Now, one of the tricks with this soap is that you need to have it set up enough that you can get some layers in here, but you also need it fluid enough so you can do a wall pour. So what I'm going to start by doing is actually hand whisking in my lye solution into my oils. So hopefully I give myself enough working time. So we've got this combined. I'm going to show you all my colours first, and then I'm going to evenly split it out. I've got some black pearl with some silver lake mica. In this one I have some elusive, which I have put in some black pearl to get a really dark green. Into this pot I have some more elusive, but I have got some white titanium dioxide in there. And then into this one I have decided to put in a little bit of that silver lake mica. Now I was going to do my top layer of this one in white, but when I've read the fragrance notes, it does say that there's 0% vanillin and that it doesn't discolor, but when I show you the fragrance oil in a minute, you will see that it is very, very dark in colour. So I'll be very surprised if this one actually doesn't discolor, and I didn't want a brown layer on the top of this one. The fragrance I'm using is one of the new Aussie Soap Supply ones, and it is called Birchwood, and it looked like it was going to be one of their signature sort of scents that they were going to offer. It says that it is complex and woodsy and a unisex fragrance, and it really is. It's got one of those sort of nice aftershave sort of smells, but one that the women like as well. It says it is divinely smooth and combines notes of birchwood, elemi, amber, oud and frankincense. So I'm going to finish getting this one split out between these jugs evenly. I'm going to hand mix this colour in. I'll add the fragrance and then give it a very quick mix with that stick blender. And I almost forgot what I was going to do. I've been cleaning up in the shed again, and I have found these samples that I've been sent from Aussie Soap Supplies in a couple of my orders here. And what I decided I wanted to do, this is some olive scrub granules, and I was going to add some of those into my dark green. Let's just add the whole lot because the idea is to be cleaning up and not saving stuff. And then into my lighter colour, this is some coconut scrub. So let me get this little pack open in here. We'll finish mixing in the colours, add in our fragrance, and then we will start pouring. So I've got my first colour in my pot here. I actually want this light colour to be the top colour of my soap. So we're going to start by putting that one in the bottom there. I am going to stick to my original plan, which was to go from dark at the bottom up to the light colours. So I'm going to keep mixing these. I'm going to pour them into this pot, and then we are going to pour into our mould. We have got everything into that pot, and hopefully it's staying fluid enough to pour and get this technique right. I have got my soap mould here. Make sure my silicone is on there really well. I'm just going to use 2 of my little pots here just to hold my mould up, and the idea is now that we're going to do a wall pour and just move up and down, pouring this colour out, and we'll see if we get the effect we're meant to. Hopefully I've got enough colour change. I think I may be, a little bit too thick for the pour. Oop. yeah, I think this is thickened up. It stayed nice and thin, and now it's just gone way too thick. Alright, so we're definitely not going to get the technique on our first attempt of this. Hopefully we will get some really nice patterns through here. I'm just going to leave it to see what actually does happen, because you never know. Sometimes things look like they're not working, and then they do. I don't think this one is actually going to work in terms of the challenge sort of requirements, but it is smelling great. I think we're still going to get a really good masculine bar of soap in this one, especially with all those exfoliating bits. I'm going to leave it sit here for 24 hours, and then we're going to come back in just one moment and we're going to see what we have got on the inside. Alright, so we are ready to try and tackle this One Pot Wonder soap once again, and hopefully we'll get the design we are meant to be getting. I am going to do this one a little bit differently. So the last one I did, I followed some of the suggestions in the tutorial on how to keep that really fluid trace, but just that technique doesn't always work for me. So I'm going to go back to what I like to always do, and that is pour my sodium hydroxide distilled water solution into my oils. I'm going to mix it to a very light trace with my stick blender, and then I will mix in the colors and the fragrance before we do the pour, and hopefully I'll get my batter to stay fluid enough for this whole lot. I have got a little bit of Wellington in this mica, or in this jug I should say, and I'm going to do exactly the same before. I'm going to split out 4 colours, and this one here is some more of that Wellington, but I have used a lot more of it in the pot, so I want that one just to be a very pale yellow. This one here, I have got some blush mica in here, so this is a really pretty pink. And then in my final jug, I have got some raspberry mica from Heirloom Bath and Body, or from Heirloom Body Care. I always call it Bath and Body for some reason, but it's actually Heirloom Body Care. I'm going to finish splitting this up evenly between these jugs. Alright, so we've got all that split up between the jugs, and this is my fragrance oil this time. I am using Pink Lemonade Fizz, and it has got notes of lemon zest, grapefruit, strawberry, sparkling wine. There's some malt and musk in here too. It's got about 0.25% vanillin, which is why I decided to add just that tiny bit of yellow into this one. What I'm now going to do is hand stir all of these in here, and then I'm going to do as I did with the last soap, and that is pour them back into a jug so we can then do a one pot pour. Now this time round I also decided to change my jug up a little bit. Most of the competition soaps, or the designs that people weren't happy with and have been posting into the group that goes with the challenge, most of them are using quite a tall mold, or a tall and skinny mold, and I think I'm kind of guessing that because it's a tall and skinny mold, you want a tall jug to actually pour your soap out of. I'm thinking that because my mold is quite squat, so it's not, you know, tall, I'm thinking I might then need a squat container or jug to pour mine from. So I'm going to give that little theory a bit of a test. So I'll finish getting these ones mixed in. Alright, so the jug I'm going to use is one of these trusty little red-handled jugs here. Once again, I'm going to start with the colour that I actually want on the top of my soap last, to go into my pot first. And then I'm going to layer them up in alternate. So I'll have a yellow, pink, and what I want to try and achieve is to try and get some distinct layers actually in the jug as well as in my soap. So I'm going to use the spatula just to prevent or try and get that soap to sit on the top. And look, that colour wasn't quite mixed in properly. Let's give that a better stir. This one is looking to be much more fluid than my last attempt with that birchwood. Alright, so what I'm going to do is pour down the edge of my jug here, but onto my spatula, and hopefully it will start to float across the top. A bit like when you make, say, a latte coffee, or when you're making shooters and you try and get the two different alcohols, or the coffee and the milk, to float on top of each other. Alright, so we've got our colours in the jug. I'm not convinced this is going to work again, because it should actually create layers, and it's almost like it's done a funnel pour in here, but you know what, it's still going to turn out to be a great soap no matter what happens. So let's get it poured into the mold. What I am going to do is just prop my mold up just to give me that extra little pair of hands here, and now I'm going to wall pour it down the side while moving my jug backwards and forwards. Let's make sure this mold is stuck. It's giving me all sorts of grief today. So it's always the way. The first time I did this sort of technique, my batter got super thick on me, and I don't think I've really got the design. I'm actually making this one just after I made the other one, so I still don't know yet whether it actually did work, but I'm pretty sure it was actually too thick to actually get the feathering effect that we're looking for. And then this time round, this soap batter has remained so fluid that I actually don't think I'm going to get the feathering in there, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have some awesome swirls in here, so I'm not too gutted about that. I am just going to give the top just a little bit of a play just to get those colours moving, and then I'll be back in just a moment because I do have an embed to go on the top of this soap. Alright, so this has been sitting here now for about, must be about 15 to 20 minutes firming up. This will well and truly stayed fluid. Now I do actually want to add some toppers to this, and part of the conditions were if we were to add toppers, they had to be made with cold processed soap. So I have got some lemon slices of soap dough. If you want to know how I make these, I'll leave a link up in the top corner where I show you how I make them as orange slices. You just change the colours up to make them into lemons or limes. And what I'm going to do is just in the center of each of these soaps, I am going to place in a piece of lemon here. Now I am not deterred. I know this is my second attempt at doing this soap, and I again don't think this one has worked. I have already got a third soap all planned out, and as soon as I have finished doing this, I am going to go and get the oils ready so that they can cool down overnight, and then I will attempt to make another one and hopefully get the effect that we're after. But as I said before, I am pretty sure this soap is going to have some amazing swirls in it. So even though it's not going to be what was intended, I think we're going to end up with a gorgeous looking soap from this one. Okay, so here is Pink Lemonade Fizz. It is looking really good. I'm really wanting to put some biodegradable glitter on the top of this one, but in case this one has actually worked on the inside, I have decided not to, because it would actually get me disqualified, because the glitter would not be considered cold processed soap. So we'll just have to leave it like this, but I'm really happy. I'm going to leave this one sit overnight, and then we'll be back in just a moment and we'll cut it open. Alright, so the first one I'm going to cut into is this cedar wood. Now I love how that coconut has just speckled all through that sort of colour. Now normally I'd be quite upset if that had actually sort of, the colour's almost like morphed from off the coconut and created all these little brown spots, but I think it just looks absolutely perfect. I am loving the swirl on the end of that and down the sides. I honestly don't think this one is going to have the feathering effect on the inside, but it is still looking really good. Now the scent on this one has actually faded quite a bit throughout that saponification process, so it will be very interesting to see if it comes back during the cure, because sometimes they do. But if you follow along with me on Instagram, you'll actually see when both of these soaps are ready, and I can let you know what that fragrance does. But for now, let's take a look and see at what our attempt one looks like. All right, let's grab this one from off the end. And that is the inside. So it's not a complete and utter failure. I can see I have started to get some of that feathering in those colors there, but it's just not the sort of layers that we were really after. But I'm really, really pleased with how that has come out. Love all these little bits of exfoliant through there. The exfoliant that's in the darker green is a little bit more subtle than what this coconut is up in the top there, but I am still pretty happy with how this one has come out, even though it's not going to be an entrant for the competition. I think it's still come up as a really pretty soap, and it's going to be really good for the men, so it is not a waste of a soap, which I'm really, really pleased about there. I was a bit afraid that I was going to get more of a cameo sort of look on the inside of this one. I'm pretty sure these are pretty much all going to be the same. Yeah, so we've managed to get that sort of feathering in the light and the dark green, but that was about it. So I'll get this one cleaned up out the way, and then we'll go and grab the pink lemonade fizz, and we'll see what we've got in that one. Alright, so here is pink lemonade fizz, and again the colours are looking really, really good. So no matter what it looks like on the inside, I am still really, really happy with this soap. It is a little bit softer than the birchwood, even though I made them at the exact same time, and that's because this one, the fragrance oil, stayed so much more fluid than what that birchwood did. It smells so good. You've got that lemon smell in it without it being a really tart lemon smell, and not too clean. Like I always think of lemon and cleaning products, whereas this has that sort of real foodie lemon smell. This one's cutting just like butter. Let's take a look. Alright, so let's take a look. I have seen the end, and unfortunately it is not what we were hoping for, but I was expecting that. But look how gorgeous that actually is. It reminds me of sipping cocktails in the evening and watching the sun, and it's just so pretty. I have got some pretty feathering effects through there. Now, I'm really, really pleased with how this has come up, but when you actually look at some of the photos that are in the challenge, it's definitely not what they are looking for as an entrant, but I am so pleased with how this has come together. You can kind of see how we're starting to get that sort of feathery swirl over there coming through, but this one was definitely too fluid. But you know what? Even though this isn't what they're looking for in terms of the design, I really like this technique. You can see that from these two different soaps, we have got something that is so completely different just because of the way that the textures were, but it's such a quick, easy way of pouring it in and getting the swirl without putting your hanger through and wondering if you've got enough swirls with your hanger in there. So I am really, really pleased with how this one has come together. Really love how the colors have all gone in. The idea is this one definitely doesn't fit the sort of bill. You can see on this one that we have the 4 very distinct layers of color in this one, whereas the color on this one, it kind of really does go all the way up. You've got some of this sort of darker pink has actually come up into these sort of upper layers there, and that's why this one just is not going to actually make the cut, because we do have to have 4 very distinct layers of color. But as I said, this is definitely not a fail in terms of how it looks, but just not a soap entry this time round. But I have got another soap I've got sitting on the side. Hopefully third time is lucky. It's a bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We've had one that's too thick, one that's too thin, and hopefully the third will be just right. So stay tuned for that video. Don't forget to follow along with me on Instagram as well, because I will be posting pictures of these ones once they are ready. And until the next time, I hope you have a great video, and I will see you then. Oh, and just before I go, doesn't it look like there's little faces in that soap? How cute. All right, I'm off now. I'll see you later. Bye.